get if you were buying the real thing. First up to put it to the test, we have bookshelf slimes and Hataro Confetti Crispies. This is a really fun slime. It's a white glue base, it's coloured purple, and then it has lots of add-ins. This slime is known as a slushy slime because it's full of little pellets, and these pellets create these great little air pockets in the slime, like you can see when you're pulling it up. It just traps a lot of air in, which makes for a lot of crunchy sounds. So the ASMR is really amplified and people really like it. And also these pellets aren't tough on your hands, so it's still really soft to play with. My first thought when looking at the scam slime was, why does this look like it has holes in it? And I thought maybe it was like a different type of bead they used, and then it became very clear to me that these were actually water beads. If you aren't familiar with water beads, they're also commonly known as Orbeez. This was not the Orbeez brand, I'm pretty sure, but like you can see, these are like cloudy beads, and pretty much how they get their moisture is just by absorbing everything that's around them. So if they're put in water, they'll absorb all the water, and then if they're put in slime, they will absorb any liquid in it. So we're just left with a really tough component of PVA. It did not feel like slime at all. It was a purple colour, it wasn't as vibrant as the real slime, but like you can see here, all the beads fell out, so the slime was left so small, completely not worth the money. And like you can see here, when I'm trying to mix it in, it's not cooperating, it isn't kind of adding moisture back, the beads are just falling out further, which is a far stretch from the actual slime, which is actually known for having no fallout whatsoever. And this was just great. It had a lot more colour in it, obviously it still had the moisture in it, and this was also scented like cake, whereas the Orbeez one was not scented. Next up we have one of her best sellers, Tea and Sugar. Now I want to mention first and foremost that this is not in the best condition because I've had this for months. I love this slime and I play with it all the time, so it's actually super cloudy. It's probably got some dust in there as well, but the normal version is a lot more clear than this. This slime is a clear based sugar scrub slime. Now this is a lot tougher on your hands, especially if you have long nails. This probably is not the slime for you. To get this out of the container is an absolute mission, even if you have short nails. I normally just get my finger and I go around the bottom of the container and just scoop it out until I've got all the slime out, and then I just am very careful with playing with it. It can scratch you, it's not like painful to play with, it just is a kind of like coarser material, I guess, so that is something to keep in mind. But I love this slime, it creates the best crunches, so good, and especially with clear slimes I just find that it pockets the air a lot better, so it ends up really great. I thought maybe the first scam slime was a fluke and it would have been like rectified in the second one, but alas it was not. We are left with a white glue base instead of a clear glue base. Again, we do not have the right beads, these aren't even close, because in the previous one I thought maybe because there were some rainbow beads and confetti beads, they were trying to emulate that, but in this one is all clear beads and this is not even close to what they look like. So I was annoyed. There were definitely more, so maybe they were trying to make up with that, but like you can see, it just left the slime very porous, not slime-like at all, and it dried out entirely and really felt like a plastic version of PVA glue, and PVA glue is biodegradable, so it shouldn't feel plastic at all. Moving on to the next seller, we have Nutella Gloss from Corn with Slime and their Scam Slime Shop. Now I have tried the Scam Slime Shop before, I've had a mixed experience, so I wanted to give it another shot with her bestseller, Nutella Gloss. Now this is a gorgeous, thick, clicky, and also just so rich in its colour. One of my favourite things about her container and this slime is how easily this slime pops out, so it holds the shape very well and it's just such a joy to play with. The packaging makes the slime so much less appealing than it genuinely is. I will never understand why it isn't easier to just go out and buy something a bit cuter than this, but this is what it ended up looking like at first. It wasn't very nice, but after it sat, it was just so glossy. It was huge as well. I decided to measure it out in 8-ounce deli containers. I think it works out to be a tiny bit less than 24 ounces, which which was such good value. Like you can see, it is really glossy. And the next test was just to fluff them up and see if they made nice bubble crunches. Like you can see, this is the original. It retained its color very well. It still looks so appealing. And this is what the scam slime looked like. It looked really, really gross when it was puffed up. I don't know why. The color looks super off as well. I didn't love it in this state, but when it was just like fresh, it was really good and it was really gorgeous. But the original was scented and the scam slime was not. So I think that's the main determining factor between how good they are, as well as the scam slime just not being particularly thick. But both of these were good. I was happy with both of these. Cornwood Slimes is particularly famous for their savoury slimes, and they execute these so well, and this is chicken Alfredo. Now, I can't eat dairy, so sometimes the smell of dairy makes me feel really nauseous, and I was worried that this would be the case with this one, and it was kind of at first, but then I got used to it, and it smelled so good. It was so creamy, and it smelled so legit. Whenever slimes like this come with add-ins, I do like to add the add-ins and let them sit, just to see if any of them leak. The colours did not leak, it just sank to the bottom, and this was generally just such a pleasant slime. I love the texture. It was kind of like a mix of clear and white, and yeah, it just felt really gummy and good. And the scam slime just didn't look very appealing at first. I didn't like how it looked in the bag, and also the green leaked, and this was so unappealing. I wasn't really sure if it was like moss at first, and like you can see, it was just like something that dissolved in, and I'm not entirely sure what it is, but this turned the slime green, and like chicken Alfredo isn't green unless you're maybe adding spinach, but even then, like, it was so unappealing. It was really nasty in comparison with the previous one. Next up, I have a slime shop I've never tried before, and this is Slime Yoda. This was really fun for me because I know that her two most exciting textures are the ones that inflate a lot, i.e. butter slimes, and also her thick slimes. So they're the two we're going to be trying out today. The first one is a butter fizz. So on the bottom it has a fizz layer, and this is made of plastic snow and clear glue. And on the top we have a butter layer, and this is made with a clay that's kind of has like a wet residue. So if you don't like that, I wouldn't recommend it, but I really liked how these two textures merged together. It wasn't scratchy at all because the butter just completely negated that. The scam slime version was very similar in terms of aesthetics, but very different in terms of texture. So we did have the butter slime layer on top, but weirdly enough, this was the same color, but it had loads of like dry